During an appearance on Fox News this week, Kellyanne Conway got into it with fellow Fox News host Juan Williams when Williams wanted to talk about the fact that Donald Trump was ranting incoherently at a rally in Georgia this week, and Kellyanne Conway repeatedly asked him to stop talking about it because, of course, Kellyanne Conway doesn't want to hear any of it. And here is how that little back and forth began. It started with host John Roberts saying this. They aired Donald Trump's speech. John Roberts come back and he goes, "That was quite a speech, almost an hour and a half. I was following along with the prepared text, and I think the speech was 3 times as long as the prepared text because he kept ad-libbing and deviating so much." So even John Roberts was like, you know what? He really went off script there, right, Kellyanne? So Kellyanne jumps in and she says, Trump did go off topic a little bit, but he outlined very specific plans for the economy. No, he didn't. But she continues, "I think the topic is the American economy, jobs, opportunity, prosperity, but it got very granular. And it's a challenge to Kamala Harris to stop talking in generics and be more granular." Now, before I get into Juan Williams starting to point out the BS that Conway is talking about, Kellyanne Conway literally said, Harris needs to stop speaking in generic terms and be more specific. When in her own statement prior to that, her own sentence, she said, opportunity, prosperity. Those aren't specifics, Kellyanne. You're literally telling us that Trump was speaking in generics about prosperity, this mythical, weird thing that nobody can quite define because it has no set definition. What's prosperous to you may be poverty for others. But she's speaking in generics and then attacking Kamala Harris for allegedly speaking in generics. That's all Republicans have, by the way. I'm going to go off on a tangent here because Republicans speak in nothing but generics. And that's how they've been for my entire 20-plus year career in politics. They talk about patriotism, this abstract context. You can't touch it, you can't feel it, but they talk about patriotism, prosperity, opportunity, no specifics, like what kind of opportunities? The opportunity to die because you can't afford your medication because drug companies have upped the prices so much for us? That's an opportunity, not a good one. So what do these words mean? Prosperity, hope, all this bullcrap that Republicans sell us. And for the record, Juan Williams wasn't having it either. He replied when she says that Trump was being very granular. He said, Kellyanne said he got granular. I'm still waiting for the grain here, the granular pieces, because to me, this was a speech in which he's trying to set out a new policy, I guess. But all I heard from him was attacks on Harris, Comrade Kamala. For an hour and a half, Kamala's a communist. And then Conway begged him to stop, saying, come on, Juan, you have the text in front of you. Don't say that. And then Williams says, it was pretty much just an ad hominem personal attack. And, it made for like a rally-like atmosphere. But the reality is, even as he attacks Harris, he ignores the fact the U.S. economy right now is growing even after COVID. It's the best on the globe. Manufacturing fell to its lowest under Trump. Conway said, I just can't sit here and abide these lies. And Williams said, it's not a lie, it's the absolute truth. Well, you sat there with 5 pages of his speech. And Williams jumped in and goes, and it didn't produce. And then Conway mumbled at the end, well, at least he speaks. Trying to, hit Kamala for not doing interviews. But she was begging him, like, you have the speech in front of you, just stick to that. He doesn't have to because Trump didn't stick to the speech. If Trump doesn't stick to it, why should the pundits stick to it? Should they talk about what he wanted to say or what he did say? That's what Williams was getting at, and Trump went on all these ridiculous tangents, and Conway didn't want to talk about those. Please, no. Please look at the text. Please only focus on the written words of somebody else that's not Donald Trump. But Conway didn't get her way, and she ended up looking like a damn fool, grumbling at the end, well, at least he talks to the press. Yeah. Bang up strategy there, Kellyanne. Things are definitely going super well for you and your candidate. obviously.
One of today's video sponsors is Miracle Made. Did you know that traditional bed sheets can actually harbor more bacteria than a toilet seat? It can lead to acne, allergies, stuffy noses, and it's just plain gross. Miracle Made offers a whole line of self-cleaning antibacterial bedding such as sheets, pillowcases, and comforters that prevent up to 99.7% of bacteria growth and require up to 3 times less laundry. These sheets are infused with silver that prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets. No more gross odors. Miracle Made uses silver-infused fabrics inspired by NASA, and their sheets are thermoregulating and designed to keep you at the perfect temperature all night long, so you get better sleep every night. Miracle sheets are luxuriously comfortable without the high price tag of other luxury brands, and they feel as nice, if not nicer, than bed sheets used by some 5-star hotels. And it's designed for your skin. Stop sleeping on bacteria. Bacteria can clog your pores, causing breakouts and acne, and you can sleep clean with Miracle. Now, I've been using Miracle Made bed sheets for nearly 2 years now, and I absolutely love them. They help keep me cool throughout the night, which means I get better sleep because I'm not waking up all throughout the night from being too hot. So go to trymiracle.com/ROF to try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo code ROF at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product that it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. Upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/ROF and use the code ROF to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/ROF to treat yourself.